This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
You're Keegan with chocolate in your mouth.
I know. I chewed so fast. Like I was just like, ooh, a turtle. And like shoved the whole thing in my mouth.
I have to announce that this episode, number 208 for us, is officially our 4-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe. And what a ride it has been. You know, we made it through COVID, made it through dating somebody new, and a divorce and dating someone new,
and dating all kinds of people for you, Christina. Wow, what a journey! Look back on your own personal journey throughout this process.
Keegan got married.
Yes,
we had some milestones here.
Yeah. We had milestone birthdays. We had the big 30 for Keegan, the big 40 for this one right here.
Wow. We had new babies added to the fam.
Yes, we did.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
I feel like we've grown so much. We really have. Like, I feel like I've grown so much in 4 years.
Yeah. I know. I'm a new career path now. Just so much. So yeah, thanks for coming on this ride. For those of you who have been listening since the beginning,
wow,
I know some people that are still listening. That it's amazing. Thanks for hanging out with us and sticking around.
You know, I've made some actual like friends through this podcast. Yes. You know, like there are people who I follow on Instagram who I started following because they were listeners of the podcast, and like now we chat together and stuff like that. Like I really feel like I've formed connections with people through this podcast, and it's not just a one-way street. Like I feel like it does go both ways. Like I've learned so much from our listeners too, and the stories they've submitted. People have shared such personal things with us as well, and they've trusted us with their stories, and like that's really cool, you know?
Yeah.
We've made podcast friends. We've made podcast besties.
Yep. Yeah. It's so much so that here in a few months, we will be relaunching, technically, because right before COVID, we started doing an extra bonus episode called Double Dates, where we have, you know, people, friends of ours in the podcast world or just friends in general come on and, you know, talk to them about what their dating experience has been like. And so we will be relaunching that again. I'm writing the press release for it now. So,
so official.
Yeah,
last time we were just like, running on a wing and a prayer, you know.
Can we sneak peek who our first guest is going to be?
Yes, I am actually talking with Cam. He is one of the main hosts from Sex Talk with Your Mom. Freaking hilarious.
So fun.
Hilarious podcast.
Yeah.
It's so great. And Cam actually also runs his own network called Pleasure Podcasts, which is a very sex positive network of great podcasts. So definitely go check that out.
In fact, one of our past guests on Double Date, Private Parts Unknown, is part of their network now, which is so funny. Crossover. So that was that was one of the ones that we actually got in before the that
COVID. Was our very first Double Date was Private Parts Unknown. And Cam from Sex Talk with Your Mom and his mom, Karen, they're both just so much fun to be around. I look forward to seeing them anytime we're at any podcasting event, to the point where I think I might have like actually scared Cam a little bit this last time. Every time I see him, I'm just like, oh, Cam! Like I'm so excited. He just has that energy of like somebody that you want to like be around. Yeah, absolutely. So for more information about other things that we have coming up, definitely go to our one-stop shop of websites, myworstdatepodcast.com. And we'll definitely be putting some more stuff up
on there. There's video content that we're going to try to launch this year as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
And if you want to give us a 4-year anniversary gift, we would love it if you would go and leave a 5-star review for us on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it legitimately make us so happy, like we actually text each other. If I see that we have a new review, I like screenshot it and I send it to Cassie and Christina because it really does make our day. But it is also just a really good metric for us from a business standpoint to have that information. So yeah, if you are enjoying the show, if you have enjoyed the show for the last 4 years, run on over there and leave us a review.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have something very important that I want to share with you today. So I'm laying in bed thinking like I'm looking through Reddit and Facebook and all this other shit, being like, oh, I wonder what I want to talk about today on the show. And I came across this fucking Reddit thread on Ask Women that talks about what is the worst example of poor hygiene that you've experienced on a date and in a relationship. And
this
I gotta
is going to go places that I'm not sure I'm ready for. It is going to get real gross, isn't it? People are disgusting.
People are so gross.
Yeah. But it's like, so the first thing right off the bat is a woman talking about this perpetually single male friend of hers that she has.
Mm-hmm.
So he has some real high standards. This guy is looking for a Margot Robbie type woman.
Me too.
Nice teeth, fit and energetic, between 25 and 30, great sense of humor, independent, high earner, and a great cook.
High earner and a great cook. Wow.
Let's see what this...
Please, I want a picture of the bedroom he's got in his mom's house.
32, still wearing the Quicksilver shirts he had in 2009 with holes in the armpits.
Sir.
The bottom of his work pants are all frayed. He wears skater sneakers to work. He doesn't get haircuts, doesn't shave, doesn't brush his teeth, no cooking utensils in his house.
Well, hold on. How is he? Does he just not cook? What is he? What is how?
He takeout boxes. His front door is littered with takeout boxes.
Front door?
Yeah, it's. I'm like, but looking for a Margot Robbie type.
Look,
this motherfucker right here got nerve.
I cannot get over what society has done to women that we can be actual 10s and constantly be questioning our self-worth. And meanwhile, motherfuckers like this exist.
Honey, we see it all the time on TikTok with the joke, the male podcast or whatever. That guy with scurvy that's like, here's how you can actually like tell if a girl you're talking to is overweight. I'm like, fuck you, sir.
You of all people.
You know, also, there's there was that TikTok trend that was like, my gorgeous friends and the guys who broke their heart, and it's always like the most like neck beard motherfucker and like the most beautiful woman you've ever seen in your life, and you're like, you cried over that guy?
We've all
been there. Yes, we've all been there for sure.
There's the guy that this one girl dated that had crusted shit on his underwear.
To
the point where she refused to combine laundry loads.
My dude.
Like, how do you have sex with that person? How do you
not know how to wipe your ass?
Like,
how do you not know how to wipe your goddamn ass?
Nothing in that region is going in my mouth.
No.
But like, they're clearly dating because like
they're living
doing together. So like,
no, they're not. That's what she's like. Absolutely not.
You're not putting your laundry in with mine. You can do your own.
But
so sir.
Okay. Like, are they just not having sex? Because I'm just like, there's no way.
I wouldn't want to. Yeah, that's a huge turn on.
The questionable. You know, I mean, 4 years of doing this podcast, we have discussed this. Like, Christina is free with her mouth. I am not. So already I'm like, I'm iffy on whether or not.
Yeah, if you're not taking care of the back, methinks you're not taking care of the front either.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And
so there's some dick cheese involved for sure.
Oh, God.
This one girl says she lived with 3 guys in a house during her first year in university.
Well, that's the first problem, yeah.
She lived in an upstairs part with her own bathroom, while they all lived downstairs with one bathroom they shared.
Should be.
Oh.
She says, I rarely went down there, but I was looking for something and was told it was in their bathroom.
Oh, no.
So I went down there and I stopped in the hallway because you can smell their bathroom from 15 feet away.
Why are you like this? Why do you want to live this way?
The floor has piss stains all over it.
Stop.
The entire bottom of the bathtub was black, except for the white circle where they stood under the shower head. The walls of the shower were black with mold. Every inch of caulk was black, green, and brown, as was the tile.
Dude.
The toilet seat was covered in pubes. Like you could barely even see the white porcelain. Inside the toilet was dark brown. The sink was black like the tub, and somehow there were pubes all over the counter. You couldn't even see the mirror.
Oh, my
What was on the mirror?
God.
What was on the mirror?
Exactly. She doesn't elaborate. It's just like, and it literally, then there's so many replies to that of like all the women that have had to have guy roommates like that in their early 20s
Why do you want
stuff.
to live that way? Like, look, man, I can be a little bit messy, like occasionally when I'm like, I don't want to put all my makeup away right now or something like that. But I'm just like, it takes nothing to like rinse out the bathtub after you use it. Like, it's just
how do you even feel clean?
How? You can't. You cannot. You're stepping out of a black bathtub onto a piss-stained floor after your shower. You're never clean.
And
you're
then
never clean.
I can feel their towel. Do you know what I mean?
It is stiff.
The threadbare towel that hasn't been like
properly washed, probably. It smells like mildew.
Oh, it's grimy.
It's
got
mildew.
a film. It's got a film on it.
Oh, God, you guys.
Oh, my God.
Cassie is about to crawl out of her skin. Of the 3 of us, I think you're taking this as the hardest.
And you're
awful.
a very clean person.
Dude, I remember that my worst fear was like when Dylan first moved out of the house, he was like 18, got his own place. I went over to see, it was the first time I went to his house, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. This is like 19-year-old boy house. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's going to be filthy. And to be fair, it was a messy, but it was not filthy. I was so thankful. I was like, oh my God, it didn't like smell.
There's a huge difference between
my God,
messy
it wasn't filthy. The bathroom,
and
I was
dirty.
like, I would have been able to use it if I needed to.
There you go.
Oh my God.
There's such a big difference between messy and dirty. Like, it's okay. Like, for me, there's a big difference between like, oh, you have some things piling up, like you've got some books piling up in the living room or something, and like grime.
Or even dusty. Like, okay, like I'm looking around his bedroom right now. It's a little dustier than I'd like to see it, to be personally fair. but he is somebody who's like, he does the dishes all the time. He does his own laundry. He cleans out the litter boxes. Like, he sweeps all the floors. Like, he does. He's a clean person. You have to
recognize what can go a little while, and like dusting can go a little while. Like dishes, laundry, like those things really can't. Like, they just can't.
I can always tell like how I'm doing mentally by how my house looks. Yeah. Because when I'm not doing the best mentally, the house is not in great shape. But this one takes the cake.
Oh no.
Girl went on a date with a guy, gets back to his house, his bathroom doesn't have toilet paper. She asks why. He says, because I only shit at work.
Okay. Whoa, wait.
That was better than I actually thought it was going to be. I thought for sure it was like, I wipe with my hand and then wash it or something. I did. I was like, I swear to God.
He only shits at work. So,
I mean,
doesn't need toilet paper.
He's like,
first of all, I feel like that's
problem.
the opposite of what most of us do. Like, I would love to avoid that. I don't want to at work.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't
you
want
gotta
to
do what you gotta do, but I don't make it like my goal. And secondly,
well,
that is some real control. If you are able to,
I think a lot of men do that. I think a lot of men have that morning poop at work.
It can't be good for you to hold it in. What do you do on the weekends?
Oh, exactly. Oh. Exactly.
Good point. Valid.
And
valid
also,
point.
I'm sorry, petition to get men to wipe their dicks after they pee. Petition to do that. I'm like, I don't want, again, if you ever want that to go in my mouth, you can't just shake dry.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't like that. I don't, who made that rule?
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, I have another petition. It's okay if you're drunk to sit down to pee so you don't pee all over the floor.
There's nothing. Yeah. You're fine. Your masculinity is intact. It's okay. Just sit down.
Listen, don't care. My husband straight up will sit. If he'd been drinking and he's not feeling stable, he'll sit down and pee.
He's a tidy guy. That's good.
Yeah.
So, last one that I'll share, but definitely this post has people literally, I'm going to have to wash my brain out with soap, honestly. She says, my ex didn't comb his hair for a year, I guess, and formed dreadlocks in the back of his head. I made him get a haircut and there was mold on the inside of this huge dread.
Okay. Yep. Listen.
Do you know what that must have smelled like?
Would you?
I do.
Are you sharing a bed with this person?
Yeah.
Look, I'm questioning our entire relationship.
Videos of people who have done that where they've gone like a year, sometimes 2 years without combing their hair. The videos of them like having to cut that out. What it looks like on the inside is just it's awful.
Why would you go that long without combing your hair? Why?
Depression.
It's gotta be some kind of like sadness.
Yeah,
like
it's depression.
Deep sadness. Yeah. Because I'm just like.
But it is, and it smells so awful.
Just keep it buzzed. Like if you can't manage, like, look, I as somebody who suffers from depression and has curly hair, that does tend. I will say, when I had COVID, the first 3 days, it was just like in the same messy bun for like 3 days before I finally was like, all right, I need to like wash my hair and like comb it through and everything. So I understand that it could like get to that point. Like I guess I understand it, but at the same time, if you really can't take care of it, just cut it
for years.
Off. Just cut it off.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, how about this? I know I said that was the last one, but one guy I knew would jack off with his sweaty gym socks after a workout and let that bacteria just fester on his dick for the next 10 hours at work, then wondered why his girlfriend kept getting infections.
Oh, why? What's wrong with his hand? Why can't he just use his hand?
Fuck you.
The comment right under it just says, I got a UTI just reading this.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
How do you develop that habit? How do you develop that habit where you're like, this is what I'm going to start doing?
How do you have a girlfriend? How do you have a girlfriend?
Honestly,
I hate. Oh my God, that's awful.
Constantly getting infections when you're sleeping with a boyfriend. If you're doing PIV or whatever, I think you gotta talk to them.
Well,
about
I feel like women are so conditioned to thinking it's us. Like there's something wrong with like our hygiene or our pH. So I don't think that my mind would go to it's something
dirty
that
dick
he's doing. Yeah, I think that I would immediately be like,
I would.
Oh, I need to.
Like, no, I pee every time I'm done after the sex.
Yeah, exactly.
It's clean with a sheen, and I am not. It ain't me, honey. It ain't me.
But
it ain't me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we just talk about this for just one more second? Because I just don't understand. Is that common that like men will use
gym socks?
Anything?
I mean, it's definitely a trope. I don't know anybody who has. I asked my husband about it one time. So I was like, have you ever done that? He's like, no, it's disgusting.
For what?
I was like, right? It does feel disgusting. To be fair, I also have cleaned my son's clothes before. And I can tell you I've never had a
crusty
gross
sock
action
or
rag.
Is it because
fucking God?
Is it because it keeps it contained?
Yes,
probably.
So, but that's what showers are for.
Yeah, that's
Science.
I've asked Eric about it, and he's like, yeah, no, it's like a shower. I did know a guy that used to take
I don't think I want to know this.
He used to take toilet paper and like fold a little 2, 3, 4 ply action, set it down on the sink, and then he would just come onto that like square of napkins.
That takes some serious.
I kind of respect it.
Like that is like he's like just right here, just right here.
I kind of respect
that is
it.
So
I'm a little like
fastidious.
okay,
who is this person?
It was he's a Sagittarius, so
okay.
I don't know if that's that very fastidiousness.
I don't know.
Do I know this person?
Yes, you do.
I know. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
it would kind of track for that person in my mind. Actually,
here's the only thing about that. Is while I can respect that because I'm just like you've thought ahead a little bit, and you're not like dirtying your dick up by putting it in a used gym sock, right? But I am like
dirtying your.
Are you really cleaning your bathroom counters regularly? Because I'm like, if I come, because that
I think if you're that fastidious, I feel like you would. I feel like that is exactly the kind of guy who does.
Well, the other thing that he would do if he didn't do the napkin trick is that he would just jerk off over the toilet bowl. And so then it would just go into the toilet.
Right. Good for you, sir.
But for me, I'm like,
it feels like it would cut the joy out a little bit.
Exactly.
It
I'm
does.
like, you're masturbating in front of the toilet. I'm
looking
like,
at the toilet.
When I want to, Jill myself, I'm like, I'm comfy. I'm on my bed. I got my
setup. You got a setup.
My setup,
conditions are just right. You got a glass of wine.
Doing it above a toilet bowl is just it bums me out.
Oh, it is very bummer.
It also bums me out. I'm with you. I feel like in general, women are far more like we create conditions for ourselves. We treat ourselves right. We wine and dine ourselves. We romance ourselves a little bit. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't.
Well, I know you don't for sure.
You're also
but I'm also a guy.
not standing in front of the toilet.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that.
That is
you
true.
You wouldn't do that, right? Like,
true.
so I'm like, I do like, I'm not gonna like put on Barry White and put rose petals on the bed, okay? But like I am going to like make sure I'm comfortable, like the pillows are propped just right. I'm going to make sure I've got a glass of wine handy, like within reach. Like and
that's
like
because for us though, like the littlest thing being like off and we won't be able to come. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's so true.
Like if
it's a mind fuck.
It's you have to, our minds have to be involved. Yep. And I'm wondering if that's the same thing for guys.
I don't think so.
Their minds are never involved in anything that they do. I have a good FMK idea, guys.
Okay.
Since we talked about dirties, I want to talk about clean guys because I feel like we've done, I want to think in your head, like for some reason, Jeff Lewis, is that his name? The guy who does the house flipping show. He came to mind like somebody who would just be like super clean. And now I don't want him on the list because I also think he's a bit problematic and awful. But I want to
who do we think is
who do you think
clean?
would keep a clean house?
You know who I think would?
Yeah.
And Christina, I feel like let me know your thoughts on this. Jason Bateman. I bet he is clean.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you are correct.
And I think he's a Capricorn, and he radiates Capricorn energy. Like I'm like, yeah, that man,
100,
and he seems clean to me.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
That's a good one. Oh man, let me think on this.
I know. I threw a whammy at us. You know who I was thinking is the guy that you like a lot. He lives in New York. The Hulk.
The Hulk? Oh, Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah. I don't know, though. He kind of also gives me off that, like, boho kind of living vibe.
Yeah, right. I could go either way with him. Yeah. I feel like he's a clean hippie.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
He does
that motherfucker's clean.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yep.
That's a very good one. I don't know. There's something about a British accent that seems clean to me.
Just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. They already have an advantage. It's that specific, like, posh British accent, too. It's like, there are definitely, I mean, you give me a Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders, and I'm like, a little less clean, okay?
Yeah,
like
that's a dirty more
rugged, rough and rugged. But
that's a filthy house.
Filthy in the best way.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Who else?
Like, I keep thinking then of, like, the opposite. Like, for whatever reason, like, I don't think that Jason Momoa.
No.
I would think, I think he would.
I don't know. I think he's too carefree to be.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like
focused
Matthew
on higher
McConaughey.
things. You know what I mean?
He's got shit lying around for sure. His wife is constantly, will you pick this shit up? You know that's
Matthew
how that house
McConaughey is the type who throws his laundry next to the basket.
Oh my God.
Like right next to it. And
right
his wife
there.
is always picking it up and putting it in.
Oh,
yeah. Somebody else, we need one more clean one. You nailed it with Jason Bateman. I really can't. I'm trying to
match that energy. Yeah. I mean, let me see. I feel like, okay, Jason Bateman, Benedict Cumberbatch. I feel like you could really go almost any Brit and the vibe would be the same. Like, I feel like a Tom Hiddleston.
This is a random one. This is a random one.
Okay.
Paul Scheer.
Oh, yes.
Right?
He's in like a million different projects.
Yeah.
And I think he would have to be clean.
I feel like he's
for
clean.
June Diane to.
Yes.
Yeah. Paul Scheer. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Paul Scheer. Okay. Paul
This is
Scheer.
so random.
Jason Bateman. It is so random. And Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wow.
Can I fuck and marry Jason Bateman?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Lie there.
Literally.
He is insanely hot.
Why is he so hot? Like,
There's something about him
There
for sure.
is something like
he gives off an energy.
there is something dark
That's
inside
right.
him that
That's
I'm like,
also right.
I want to get to the root of.
Yeah.
There's also something like I don't like very like powerful about his presence too.
I know what I'm going to do.
Where it's just like almost feels like I want to be naughty around him.
Yeah.
I want to be corrected.
Oh, and
God.
he would.
Shit.
I feel
And
like.
how?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have it. I think.
Okay.
Mine's going to be a hot take. I think.
Okay.
I'm going to marry Paul Scheer.
Okay.
I'm going to marry Paul Scheer because
funny.
A, he's funny. B, June Diane loves him. How can he not be lovely?
Right.
He is a feminist.
Vocally pro-choice. Yeah.
Yes.
Vocally pro-choice. Vocally liberal. Yeah, I like him. I think that he's intellectual as well. He could hold a conversation with anybody. He's the kind of guy that you could take with you to any party. He will get along with your friends.
Yeah.
He's going to make himself around the room. Like, you don't have to babysit him. He is going to make himself. He's going to make friends with people. He's just going to be a good partner. I really, really,
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to marry
just
Paul Scheer.
want to be friends with him just so I can meet
June
Dude
Diane.
Face.
Yeah.
Well,
Mantzoukas. Jason Mantzoukas.
Jason Mantzoukas is so hot.
That
Hot
is a hot
take.
take. That is a
But
hot take.
Jason Mantzoukas
There is something about
is
him.
so hot.
Okay.
I said it.
Okay, you did. You said it out loud.
No,
yeah.
he is.
So
Well, he is
I
hot.
don't think I
Sorry.
could marry Paul Scheer just because I'd be like,
Drooling
I
over
had
his
to
ring. You
Google.
can't do that.
I had to Google Jason Mantzoukas just so I knew I was thinking of the right person, and I am. I do think he's hot.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, he is hot.
yeah.
So
He's okay. Now, I will say that I initially thought he was hot. And he's so funny that it definitely amps up the hot factor. So that really, really makes such a big difference. What I will say is that we are too similarly funny in the way that we would probably fight all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
could see
think
that.
that there's
For
something
attention.
about that makes him less hot to me. He would be fun as a friend in small doses for me. We would not be
Yes.
able to be around each other that much.
totally see that cast. Like
Yeah.
you two would
Yeah.
be
much.
competing for attention. Yeah.
Oh, it'd be
And then
awful.
it would you would be that couple at the party
Nobody
where
would
like
feel
we can feel the tension rising and
Yes.
rising and rising, and then you
Yes.
have a fight in the car on the way home.
Yes. Everyone would be so uncomfortable around us. It'd be awful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just came into my mind those parties that we've been to in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Where we've known that we've walked in the middle of that fight that they pressed on pause, and you're like,
yeah. And Christina and I are just like making eye contact across the room, like,
And I'm like, anything fun to talk about? Anything fun? Anything. And So what else?
All right. Well, then who do you fuck? From Benedict Cumberbatch or Jason Bateman? I think I know what you're going to do. I think you're fucking Cumberbatch.
I am, which is weird because I actually don't think that he's better looking than Jason Bateman.
Agree.
And I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it, but it's true. I am. There is something about Cumberbatch that I just want to, it's mysterious.
He's one of those mysteries of like, shouldn't be hot, but is for some reason.
Not necessarily even hot. I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's just because he's tall. I don't know if that's where I'm at.
Tall and British.
Tall and British. I want to friend Jason Bateman. I think that's the right choice for me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sticking with this friend thing until the world starts acting right. Until my timeline comes back to normal, I'm fucking friending. I don't care what you guys do. You guys can kill away.
I don't care what you guys do. I love that you put your foot down. You're like,
I've put my own foot down for myself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to lock Jason Bateman down. I'm marrying that man. I am marrying that man. It's not a good idea. Because I do think that
the
we
sarcasm
are
between the two
both
of you
too similar, and
it's a Capricorn marriage, which is going to be
it's a challenge for sure. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that.
It's going to be a challenge.
I know.
You're
I'm
like,
not going to
it's too
do
big
that.
a mountain to climb.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
It's miserable.
The sarcasm.
The idea of dating myself is not appealing to me at all. So I think I've got to marry Benedict Cumberbatch. That's what I'm going to do.
That makes sense for you.
I
really thought about Paul Scheer because he is like friendly and engaging and everything like that. But I do like a little bit of that mystery, that quiet nature.
You're going to have
studious. So I think Benedict Cumberbatch is the husband for me out of this.
Your evenings.
I wonder what his sign is.
Your evenings are going to have fireplaces.
They're
going to have whiskey.
There's something very old school about Benedict Cumberbatch that makes me feel like you are going to live that Jane Austen manor house life with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Absolutely.
Like he gives you that kind of energy. I feel like it's right for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
watching
looking
him
at
be
his
Aries.
sign. It's Cancer.
That's good for you. Actually,
that's great. It's like it's your sister sign, isn't it? Opposite side of the zodiac.
I think so. So yeah,
that's good for you.
It's his birthday's the same as my dad's.
Oh my god!
Look at that.
Birthday as my dad.
What's your dad's birthday? My dad was a Cancer too.
July 19th.
My dad was June 29th. It still is. Was
wow.
no.
So yeah, no, I like that journey for me. I feel like that tracks. And then I gotta fuck Jason Bateman. I'm not letting that go completely. I can do one night. So
this is really hard for me.
And you're gonna kill Paul Scheer?
Well,
no,
friend
him. I like your reasoning with that for right now. Well, let's just let things settle a little bit more, and we'll be friends. Because I think he's going to be an amazing friend.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He'd be a great friend.
Also, maybe then I can also F Manzukis. So,
this one's tough for me. This one's really, really, really tough, actually, because I think Paul Scheer's personality is the most conducive for a long marriage. However, I find the other two very hot.
Yeah.
Struggling to make a good decision here.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I find Jason Bateman and Jason Bateman I find to be the hottest of these three.
Yeah. Yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch, there is just an energy that he emits that I find very interesting that I would like to explore more deeply.
Right.
So you know what? Why 4 years in? Why change anything now?
Yes.
Why not just continue to make very questionable theoretical decisions? So I am going to marry Cumberbatch.
Okay.
Yes. Wait. No, I'm not, because a Cancer and a Pisces, it's too many emotions.
Too
much
yeah.
water happening. I'm gonna marry Jason Bateman. And I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
Now,
Pisces cap.
Now, Paul Scheer
Uh-huh.
is an Aquarius.
Oh, well, Anthony's an Aquarius.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
January
damn it.
31st.
I can't fight it. It's the right thing to
listen. The heart wants what the heart wants.
But
Attraction
I know it's a mistake.
Is an important component.
I know it's a mistake. Even watching interviews with Jason Bateman, I'm like, this marriage will not last. Like this marriage.
He seems very
intense.
serious.
He's very intense, which is hot, but also scary. So fine. I am going to marry Paul Scheer because it's the smart thing to do, or whatever.
Oh my God. You're so with
bitter
such
about
disdain.
it. I'm bitter about it because I
You
know
shouldn't
that
because
he's great. This is not a slight on him at all. Like, he's amazing. I think he's so funny and everything else. I'm just like, I just really wanted to make a bad decision today, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna marry Paul Scheer. I'm gonna fuck Jason Bateman because that intensity, I feel like, for an evening would be electrifying.
My goodness, yes.
And then I am going to friend Benedict Cumberbatch because I want to spend the weekend at his manor house riding horses and drinking whiskey by the fire. So that's what I'm going to do.
I like this.
I love marrying Cumberbatch too because I'll get that dual citizenship.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And motherfucking handy.
Yeah.
So
you're like,
I
I'm out.
like this for us, you guys.
Yeah.
I like this journey. It was a weird journey. It's a weird batch. Clean guys.
Weird batch. It's a
Clean
weird
guys.
Cumberbatch. Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
sounds
Yes.
good.
Okay.
And we're back. Okay, Christina, kick us off with stories.
Okay. So I got this on Reddit, and this is just the way that it's written is so lovely. So come on this journey with me. So he says, his worst date, my very first. Admittedly, I didn't go into it with the best intentions. I thought going on a date with a woman would finally cure me of my feelings for men.
Oh, honey, baby.
Bless his
Sweet
heart.
baby, don't you just want to give him a hug?
Yes. We did get along well. Our moms worked together and we'd helped them set up for holiday events before. So I figured that must be the best chance to kickstart my feelings. While my understanding of my sexuality at the time was inaccurate, to say the least, I should have at least realized one thing about myself. I was an anxiety-ridden guy who had never been on a date before, couldn't say no to save my life, and didn't want to seem controlling by dictating what we should do. What was meant to be a simple lunch together and chat turned into a lunch together and chat, a trip back to my place to look through my house and see family pictures, a walk around my backyard, possibly a second, a drive over to her house to meet her mom and brother. Her dad happened to be at the same place we had lunch, so I'd already met him.
Oh, sweet baby.
A tour of her farm, her entire farm. The cows were admittedly quite cute. A stroll together across at least a half mile of field to meet some of her neighbors. Another stroll to meet more neighbors.
I love this. They're best friends now, aren't they?
Crossing the road and walking back in the direction of her house, stopping yet again to see, you guessed it, another neighbor.
Oh my God.
Having a bite to eat at said neighbor's place.
Where
She
does
offered,
she
God bless.
live? Like, what town are they living in?
I
where,
love
like,
this.
She's got this kind of relationship with all of her neighbors.
I
Do you know I don't ever talk to my neighbors?
Yeah,
Ever?
I only know a couple of mine just because of how god awful terrible our management company is. So we've trauma bonded to our neighbors.
I know all my neighbors.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Of course. Wow. The disdain in you
it's
today.
A compliment. It's a compliment. Of course you know.
Your face that wasn't complimentary. I'm going to say that.
Walking back to her place to get in my car and drive about 20 minutes into town for a movie. Watch the movie. Driving back to her place to drop her off, where she tried to kiss me on the lips, and I turned my head, then pretended to be so tired that I couldn't read her cues before I finally went home. All in all, I clocked in about 9 hours.
Honey. Oh, sweetie.
And it still took me 6 months to realize I wasn't into girls, and another 2 to actually end things. But that's a whole other story in and of itself.
Aww. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my God. I love that story just because it's like, it's just like awkward trying to find yourself and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder what the poor girl thinks and everything like that. But I mean, it's just part of the journey that we take in finding ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
my heart goes out to him, but I'm also like, what was she doing? Or she's like, do you want to meet my whole family and every neighbor I've ever had?
My neighbors. I'm like, what kind of fucking Disney movie is this?
Exactly.
Where she's like,
maybe she was also in the same boat. She's like, I don't really like men, but I'm going to try this out.
Yeah.
They're both like, I don't know what to do.
9 hours of, and they're like Keegan or whatever, where they can't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll just awkwardly keep doing this, I guess, until we're both pass out.
It took her 9 hours to work up the nerve to actually kiss him on the lips. Like she was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. How about we go to our neighbor's house? Oh, I'm going to do it.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I went on a date with someone I matched with on The League, which I don't even know what that is. 4 years of doing this podcast, I've never heard of The League.
What is it? The League?
The League. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's for like people who are like in like graduated like Ivy League schools and work for like high powered. I think it's like that kind of thing.
Well, la-di-da. Okay.
Oh, that's a dating app?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. He showed up 20 minutes late and said that he'd just come from the office. But I could tell
you on The League. How dare you?
But I could tell that he'd already had a few drinks. He kept me there a long time and drank a ton of vodka sodas with Grey Goose, which he specifically asked for. At 11 p.m., I was ready to go home, but he suggested we go to one more bar. I declined, and when we got the bill, which was outrageously expensive because of all of his top shelf vodkas, he said he'd left his wallet at the office.
Sir.
Ew. No.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we're done.
Dude, some things change, some things stay the same.
Things that you can pay with your phone now. Mm-hmm. You can like Zelle, Cash App, all those things exist now. Mm-hmm. There's no I
excuses.
left my wallet at home anymore.
No.
That's not an excuse.
There shouldn't be.
No.
But he said it in a way that I just knew he'd known this the whole time. He also took a yellow cab to the date, which I saw him get out of and paid for it somehow.
Sir.
I was pissed and tired by this point, so I agreed to pay the bill with the expectation that he'd Venmo me like he promised he would. He was still bitter about me not wanting to go to another bar, but excuse me, why would I agree to that knowing I'd have to foot the whole bill?
Right. For your Grey Goose.
Mm-hmm. So we ended the date on a bad note. While in the cab home, he Venmo'd me $5 for the drinks.
Sir.
The bill was almost $150.
Fuck
that's
you.
Worse than not paying.
Insulting. Now we're starting a fight.
Uh-huh.
Now $5.
$5. That's passive aggressive. That's worse than not paying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we agree. Yeah. He definitely saw the bill as well, so he knew how much it was. I blocked him on everything after that. I'm not one to believe that men should pick up the tab on every date, but this was just beyond. I couldn't get over that because I was just like, it's one thing to just ghost and like never pay for it or block her, which is gross. Don't do that. But it is a whole other thing to go out of your way to Venmo
$5.
$5.
of
like,
your
wouldn't even cover my
$150 tab.
Wouldn't even cover my late night Taco Bell $5.
Oh,
In this economy.
In this economy, not even a gallon of gas $5.
I know.
So.
My good sir.
Oh my God.
Well, buckle your safety belts, my good friends, because I am going to take you on the 1 hour nightmare.
Oh.
I got this little puppy from Reddit. It says a few years ago, I agreed to a blind date. Numbers were exchanged, phone calls were made, and she and I planned to have dinner that Friday evening. This is the timeline of said date.
Okay.
6:45 p.m. I arrive at her house to pick her up. I know this seems odd for a blind date protocol, but she had requested that. Rather than both of us meet at the restaurant, I picked her up because her car was not, quote, street legal.
What? Street?
What's that mean? What's
I have
the
a question.
specific definition for street legal?
A lot of questions. She walks out of her house dressed fairly nice, and as she approaches the car, I could smell the distinct aroma of vodka.
Oh.
When she hugged me hello, I could tell that she had been pre-gaming for this date big time. I opened the door for her, helped her into the car, and away we went to share a magical evening together.
Pause.
6:55.
Can we please talk about what is the appropriate amount to pregame? Because I feel like pre-gaming is fine. I would do it because I get nervous.
Yep.
But like, I'm thinking maybe like
A bevy.
Yeah, like
Two,
maybe two. Maybe two.
I keep it at beer, wine only.
Yes.
Pre-gaming with liquor is a dangerous proposition.
Yes.
You are
It's a fool's
playing
game.
with fire. But yeah, like a nice glass of red wine was the perfect pregame for me for a date.
Yeah.
Red wine Christina is like
smart,
chill,
confident,
relaxed, and confident. Yeah, exactly. You get into like whiskey, Christina is a little too confident.
We call her Whiskey Tina.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, pre-gaming with liquor is dangerous.
Yeah. 6:55 p.m. We arrive at the sushi bar. I had suggested another restaurant for our date, a new locally owned restaurant that had received terrific reviews and was the talk of the town. But she declined the idea based on the fact that she had never heard of the place and that for a first date, I should take her, quote, someplace nice. The conversation in the car was standard getting to know you stuff. She complimented my attire. She requested that the music be changed from alt rock to hip hop station and questioned whether or not I was a serial killer. You know, the standard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7 p.m. We are seated and given menus. She opens her menu and orders a bottle of Tokyo Rose, a combination of sake and plum wine. As the waiter is walking away, my date opens her menu and says, "Know what's weird? I really like Jap food, but I can't stand Japs."
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, what do you do? Do you
Came
just
in
get up and leave?
hot. I looked up from my menu and searched her face for any trace of sarcasm or irony. I also noticed out of the corner of my eye that the waiter, upon hearing this, froze in place for a brief moment.
Stop.
Shook his head as if he'd imagined the whole thing and then just went about his business. She then continued on. I also really don't like and proceeded to list every single ethnic and racial slur that I have ever heard and a good number that I had not.
Oh, no.
The waiter returned with our drinks shortly thereafter.
Right?
7:06.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a 1 hour date. So we're at 7:06.
Holy shit.
So she came in real hot.
In a sushi restaurant.
Wow.
7:06 p.m. After placing our food order, I order a tuna roll. She ordered salad because she thought of the thought of eating raw fish made her sick. But you insisted I take you to a, quote, nice restaurant sushi. And you ordered salad?
Do you know what sushi is?
Probably not. People that are usually that ignorant with their opinions.
Yeah, that's
I think that kind of translates to other things as well. So.
Yeah. She asked me an odd question. Are you hairy? I cannot recall if anyone had ever asked me that before and one is unaware as to how I should answer that. He's like, I'm a 37-year-old man, so I have body hair. I'm not Chewbacca, but I don't look like a 10-year-old boy either. Apparently, this was an issue for her. well, if we're going to fuck tonight, then we need to get that, to wax that shit off because I don't play that way.
No,
we're not gonna fuck tonight.
It's not gonna come into play. So
don't worry about it.
That be.
I already decided that this date as soon as this date began, that there would not be any fucking. So I was not too worried about being violently shorn that evening. Quick to change the subject, I decided to ask a question that might distract her vodka and sake-soaked mind. So, do you have any tattoos? I've got one. Her eyes lit up, and she nodded excitedly.
Oh no.
7:12 p.m. My delicate flower of a date throws her leg up on the table, lifts her pant leg, and shows me a tattoo that wraps around her ankle. It is some generic looking tribal pattern with a few kanji characters. Characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
the racist has kanji characters tattooed?
Exactly.
Cool.
Worked into the design, she explains that they are Japanese script and are actually the names of her future children. Children. Dylan and Skylar.
Wow.
Dylan and Skylar.
As she rotates. Wait, my son's name is Dylan, so let's back off just a little touch. As she rotates her ankle to show off the design, she knocks the half-empty bottle of sake onto the floor. Like, what is happening?
You know that server is so pissed. Like, he's just standing in the corner just like...
Or that waiter server is 7:16 p.m. An amused waiter assists me with my attempt to soak up the spilled liquor from the carpet while my date reveals her second tattoo. My other tattoo is a tramp stamp, she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. But I don't show that to everybody. Somehow my brain thinks that this is a good idea to ask her why not. But her response is, because it's a big old heart. I got it so that when you're fucking me in the ass, you know that I love you. The waiter and I lock eyes as I attempt to develop the power of telepathy.
Oh my Dude, I've overheard some wild ass shit waiting tables, but if I heard half of what is happening at this table, I mean,
you're getting your recorder out.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going viral. I'm like,
the waiter and I lock eyes as I attempt to develop the power of telepathy. I imagine our mental conversation went something like this. Me, dude, you gotta help me out here. This chick's a hot mess. Please just get us our food and bring me the check. Him. No way, man. This is fucking hilarious. I'm going to tell everyone in the kitchen to laugh at your sorry ass. He promptly vanished into the kitchen. 7:23 p.m. Our food arrives with the hope that my dining companion might be too preoccupied with her salad to continue to speak. My hope is quickly destroyed. She began talking about her last job and how she was fired from it. According to her, she was working as an office temp and there was some type of altercation between herself and her manager. The reason that she was let go was because, quote, he was too much of a sissy to fight like a man.
Oh, what? So homophobic as well. That's great.
Yeah, well, I deleted a homophobic comment from earlier, but yeah, this one, too much of a sissy to fight like a man. First of all, why are you trying to fight your manager, you dumbass? I still have no idea what that meant, and I oftentimes find myself lying awake at night pondering what exactly happened. I tried to change the subject to discussing films. Did she have a favorite film? If so, what was it?
Birth of a Nation.
Oh my God.
As it turns out, she's a fan of the cinema. Her current favorite movie, Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. I also enjoy the film, but for reasons quite different from hers. Instead of citing Stone's use of blunt violence, mixed media, different film stock, and sometimes shocking juxtaposition of the horrors of American suburban life with the colorful media happy world of the 1990s, her reason was because Mallory Knox is fucking hot. She then went on to quote every single line of dialogue that Juliette Lewis did in the film. 7:26. How sexy am I now, fucker? She screamed as she stood on her chair with one foot planted centimeters away from my empty plate.
No. I'm sorry. At this point, I feel like, look,
I would feel like I'm on a punked show or something.
Yeah, you got to get up, pay the bill, and then leave, right? Like, I feel like I would leave.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Honestly, too, it's hard because, like, for us, like a guy doing that, behaving that erratically and spouting that kind of hatred and ignorance is dangerous. Like for us, I'm like, I got to get out of here before I become a fucking Dateline episode. So deuces.
Right. Yeah. But
maybe for a guy, they don't feel that way.
Well, and also I guess there is that element of like, she's clearly, even though she's obviously a vile human being, she's clearly also wasted.
Yeah.
And so there's also that element of like, you have a responsibility to make sure she gets
the date up and you get her home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're like, we're done.
This time, so in order to calm things down, I decided to switch the subject yet again. This time I decided to learn about her family. I offered that I had one younger brother and 2 adorable nieces. She said that the only family she had was her mother, with whom she lived. She went into detail about the fights she had with her mother, would have on a daily basis, and now her mother did not understand the stress that she had to deal with in her everyday life. This, she explained, was why it was vital that she be able to continue her strict regimen of Prozac and vodka. I could see the storm clouds gathering in her eyes as she went on. Quote, and my mama just doesn't understand how tough it is. If she would just get a better job, then maybe I wouldn't have to collect unemployment. I mean, I have to remember to turn in the paperwork once a week. The dam holding back the emotions finally burst and she began to cry, turning her eye makeup into a river of grief. 7:30 p.m.
This is so...
It's too much. All of this has happened in half an hour?
Yes. I don't even know how it's possible.
The helpful and courteous waiter appears at the table looking resplendent in his branded apron with a shit-eating grin. Can I get you to anything else? He offers. I leaned over and said, just the check, please. At 7:35, after ruining 2 napkins, I was finally able to stop the flow of tears coming from my date. The waiter, realizing that his last stunt was more than likely going to cost him a tip, returned with the check. I quickly gave him my card, and he ran it with all haste. As I signed the tab, my date said, so what are we doing now? As if nothing had happened.
Not a thing, ma'am. I'm taking you home.
7:45, as I pulled in my car onto her street, she said, you're not going to call me back. I can tell. Not wanting to hurt her feelings or risk having her go feral while I'm still in my car, I said, I just don't think I'm the right guy for you. Understatement of the fucking century.
Oh, amen.
God. When we pulled into the driveway, she began crying again. Why is this date over? It's not even 8 and I'm not even drunk yet.
Oh, sweetie.
I think that you are, ma'am.
Yeah.
I exited the vehicle, opened the passenger door, partly because I'm a gentleman, partly so to give her the hint to get the fuck out of my car.
Yeah.
She stood in the front of me crying with her hand in her head in her hands. Not being a monster, I decided to give her a hug. And as soon as I pulled her close to me, she raised her head and sunk her teeth into my neck.
Stop it!
She fucking bit him?
This bitch fucking bit me.
Wow.
Then I'm not going to say what she says, but she says, fuck you, you fucking slur.
Oh no.
As I get into my car, my cell phone rang and it was my rescue call. I answered, staring off into space like Martin Sheen at the apocalypse now. Hey man, how's your date going? Asked my friend. No. The only thing I could mutter was the horror.
Meanwhile, your neck is you're bleeding from the neck.
Yeah.
Oh God. My morning routine is epilogue. My morning routine is fairly boring. Wake up, check my email, read the news while enjoying a cup of coffee, check my phone for messages, very pedestrian stuff. Every now and then, when I pick up my phone while pouring my coffee, I find a text message sent between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. from a number labeled do not answer. Sometimes they're nude pictures, sometimes they're violent threats. Each time I slowly reach up and rub the spot in my neck, which has suddenly began throbbing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
epic. Epic. An hour.
Yeah.
That all happened in an hour.
Wow. I feel like that changes you.
Yeah. You got phantom pain in your neck now.
This is a different person. Who set you up on that blind date, my man?
Also, yeah, you.
You're cutting that person off immediately. You can't trust that person.
Very, very stern talk with them.
Yeah,
like how dare you? First of all, oh my God, woo.
Wow.
I'm shaking.
Woo. Well, should we take a break?
Yes, we take a break and we'll be right back with Tainted Love.
Cool.
And we're back. And I've got the Tainted Love this week. And
I am heavily anticipating this.
Me too.
You got a book.
Because you guys, you guys sent it and you were like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? Because the news is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording ahead of time. So this just happened like Tuesday. So I dug into it. And I was like, no, like I'm doing that for my Tainted Love. Like, don't look at anything.
And we did not.
So
yeah, because I was going to. I saw on Now This News, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna like settle in and read about this. But then you said you were doing it for your Tainted Love, so I cannot wait.
Yes. So I'm gonna begin this Tainted Love with a quote. Writers are liars. I don't remember who said that, but it's not true. In writing fiction, you dig deep and unearth portions of your own life that you've long forgotten or had purposely buried deep.
Ooh.
That quote is on the website of Nancy Crampton Brophy.
Oh my God. Oh, I am.
This feels cinematic. Like I'm ready.
Oh, there's definitely going to be a show about this. I can tell.
Nancy Crampton Brophy wrote steamy romance novels. Her website says, my stories are about pretty men and strong women, about families that don't always work, and about the joy of finding love and the difficulty of making it stay. Her tales were full of attempted murder, lust, crime, and infidelity, writing books with the titles like The Wrong Husband, The Wrong Brother, The Wrong Lover. In fact, she had a whole series. The series of romance novels were called Wrong Never Felt So Right. Which I read The Wrong Brother, which was book 1 in that series.
Oh my God. Christina, I have to tell the listeners, listen, you always get very into your Tainted Love stories, but I have rarely seen you so stoked about a story. Like, dude, you are glowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so I read the book.
Yeah.
It's long. I didn't think it was going to be that. It's not the worst romance novel I've read. It's weird knowing what I know about
Oh yeah,
her,
how do you
and
separate
the fact
that?
She's like, you know, a 70-year-old woman writing these things. It definitely takes you out of it. But it isn't the worst thing I've ever read. It's not great though either.
Okay.
She also wrote a blog post in 2011 titled How to Murder Your Husband. So let's read it together and see what we think. So, How to Murder Your Husband. As a romantic suspense writer, I spend a lot of time thinking about murder and consequently about police procedure. After all, if the murder is supposed to set me free, I certainly don't want to spend any time in jail. And let me say clearly for the record, I don't like jumpsuits and orange isn't my color.
Wow.
I love that. So we're recording this remotely.
Wow.
And Cassie and Christina are in the same room and I am not on Skype. And I still feel like I am making eye contact with Cassie.
You are.
This. Like, we're like,
you are. Mm-hmm. We are like, I am.
So, motives. Number 1, financial. This is big. Divorce is expensive, and do you really want to split your possessions? Or if you married for money, aren't you entitled to all of it? The drawback.
No, wait. Time out. No. I think the answer is no. I think the answer is no. You are not.
The drawback is police aren't stupid. They're looking at you first. So you have to be organized, ruthless, and very clever. Husbands have disappeared from cruise ships before. Why not yours? Number 2, motive. Lying, cheating bastard. Deception of any sort. This is a crime of passion. In anger, you bash his head in or stab him with a kitchen knife. Most of the time, there is a trail that leads directly to you. Each type of murder leaves clues. A crime of passion does not look like a stranger was involved. And who's left to clean the blood from your carpeting?
Asking the real questions.
Oh, no.
Number 3, fell in love with someone else. Usually financial is also involved here. Let's say your church frowns on divorce. You need to be a widow so you won't fall out of favor with your religion. At this point, I should mention that it helps if you aren't too burdened by the 10 Commandments.
Yikes.
Number 4, abuser. This one is tough. Anybody can claim abuse. What is abuse? To a teenager, it might look different than to a spouse. As a motivation, this reason usually comes up after you've been arrested. Not a lot of abused wives dial 911 upon burning down the house with their husband in it. Number 5, it's your profession. Now we're talking. You already possess both skill and knowledge. You have the moral ambiguity necessary to carry it off. Quick hit and you fade from the scene. Get your payment up front from someone else, though, because life insurance probably won't send a check.
Damn.
Options to consider. Guns. Loud, messy, require some skill. If it takes 10 shots for the sucker to die, either you have terrible aim or he's on drugs.
Oof.
Knives. Really personal and close up. Blood everywhere. Ew. Garrote. How much upper body strength does it require to strangle a person?
Really concerned with how detailed this blog post is. Like levels, layers.
This is a fucking post on your
because I could see it being a joke blog. Where you're like, oh, haha, funny because she writes this stuff. You know what I mean? Like if it popped up, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of it's satire or whatever. But I'm like, you're going, real deep.
Yeah, it goes even deeper. She talks about poison. She talks about hiring a lover, like all this kind of thing. Now, so we've read through this thing, and to me, I read through her entire website. In fact, that's like one of the number one sources that I'm quoting is nancybrophyauthor.com. You can get an about page. Damn. You can get her books. You can see her on tour for her like book tours and stuff. It was very eerie. But then a lot of local papers because this all happens in Portland. So her about page, she lives in a quiet suburb of Portland, selling insurance by day and writing by night. And her husband.
That's a red flag. Insurance by day?
Yeah. Her husband, Daniel Brophy, is a chef who raised turkeys and chickens, tended a vegetable garden, and liked to whip up lavish meals for her. She writes that she realized he was Mr. Right when he was making her snacks one night while she took a bath. I'm like, that sounds lovely.
Yeah. No, he sounds delightful. Yeah.
They had a large wedding ceremony in 1997, but they weren't actually legally married until around 2018 when they finally went and signed the official paperwork.
Interesting.
What?
Why?
Mm-hmm. Dan had a son from another marriage, and he and Nancy had no children together. Friends say there were like happy, warm, no red flags. Like his son was like, yeah, Nancy and Dan, they were great. Like,
yeah,
legitimately, they were, happy. In their 60s.
Yeah.
Just living life, tending chickens, doing the thing. So it came as a huge shock when on June 2nd, 2018, around 7:30 a.m., Dan was shot twice as he prepped for work at the Oregon Culinary Institute in Southwest Portland, piercing his spine and his heart and killing him. He was the only person inside the school at the time of his death, and the school had no security cameras. Detectives found no signs of a robbery. All of his cash and cards, his wallet, everything was still there, and it was a complete mystery as to what happened. Nancy was distraught, posting to Facebook, "For those of you who are close to me and feel this deserved a phone call, you are right, but I am struggling to make sense of everything right now." Detectives began to become suspicious of her, though, when during routine questioning, she was asked if she owned any weapons. She failed to mention a ghost gun kit that she had bought and also said that she hadn't left the house at all that morning. And they very quickly found evidence of her purchasing this kit and also found footage of Nancy in her minivan on surveillance in the neighborhood at the time of the murder.
What is a ghost gun kit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Do you know?
Oh, what is a ghost gun kit?
Yeah.
Ghost guns are things. Gotta love the laws here in this country. They're untraceable parts of guns that you can buy, that you can purchase, and then assemble the gun yourself.
Cool.
And then there's no kind of serial number or anything like that.
Nice.
So,
excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
At this moment in time, what a great thing to be aware of.
Yeah, exactly. Digging deeper, they also saw that the couple seemed to be in serious financial trouble and that Dan had $1.5 million in insurance and deduced that greed must be the motive. So she's arrested in September. The murder happens in June. She's arrested in September of 2018. And the trial didn't begin until this year. So they've been spending all this time gathering evidence, that sort of thing. The trial started this year. While the judge ruled that her murder blog was too old to present as evidence, prosecutors were still able to point at Nancy as a failed romance novelist who wrote about murder and wanted to kill Dan to get that life insurance money.
Which she just qualified for literally, months ago, because they weren't actually really married, apparently, until 2018 when he died.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, she wasn't on the mortgage for the house either. He had just added her to the deed.
Wow.
So it was like a lot of things lined up. Like, and we'll talk about it at the end. Because the problem is that it was an entirely circumstantial case.
Mm-hmm.
There's no DNA, like nothing like that. No eyewitness, nothing. So the prosecution's case is pretty bare bones. They say her books weren't selling and they were struggling to make mortgage payments, even though they did keep up with $1,000 a month insurance premiums for Dan. So she faced a single charge of second-degree murder. In the trial, she pleads not guilty. Prosecution focused on the gun, contending that Nancy purchased that ghost gun kit and a Glock 9mm, which they later recovered from her.
Jesus.
But the Glock that they had, the barrel or whatever, I don't know dick all about guns.
Me neither.
The slide.
Yeah. I'm like, that sounds right to me.
The slide was not in place correctly. They know that she purchased another slide and barrel for this Glock, but they were never able to find it. And that Glock that she handed over does not match the bullets are on the scene. So they think that she purchased the Glock, shot Dan, then replaced the barrel and everything like that so that it wouldn't be, and they've never been able to find the barrel.
Yeah.
The gun does not match the bullets, for that reason. So that's what they've got. And so defense argues that the accusations of financial trouble are actually exaggerated. The couple was getting older. They had like a multi-story house. They were planning on downsizing anyways, which is why Nancy got like added to the deed. They were going to downsize to a ranch home. And they had struggled a little bit from 2014 to 2017, but they had recently like refinanced and everything. Mm-hmm. And Nancy's like, I sold insurance. We were getting older and I got commission.
Yeah.
For all these. And I have insurance on myself too. I sold all of this so that I could get, commission at my job. So this isn't unusual. It's also when you dig into their finances, she's actually worse off with him dead.
Wow.
She would have been much better with him alive. They would have made a lot more money. His insurance wouldn't really pay out. They got a big payout when he turned like 70 something. So it's actually not advantageous. And also, if you've ever tried to like claim life insurance when someone's been murdered, like, if he had died naturally, you can get it rather quickly. But a murder, like, you're never going to see that money, especially if you're a suspect. So yeah, it just doesn't, she's like, that doesn't make sense as a motive. And she's like, the ghost gun parts were for my novels, were for research. And having read her books, there's a lot of weird crime stuff. Like I read The Wrong Brother, and the premise is the main guy is like a Navy SEAL, and he comes back. He's a Navy SEAL ex-NASCAR race driver.
Of course he is. Oh, no.
And he comes back, and his younger brother is like dealing drugs and is a mess, but he's in love with his brother's girlfriend, who is a sex therapist. It's
oh my God. Of course she is.
There's so much like random, stupid details in that I can definitely see that, she purchased this kit because she wanted to know how it fit together and stuff. So she's like, okay. And she's like, Dan even signed for those gun parts.
Yeah.
Because I was out of town. Like he knew it. He knew it was part of my writing. And so while previously she had told police she hadn't left the house in the morning, on stand, she now said she had a memory hole from that morning, but she kept adding new details and changing her story about why she was out and about that morning so early. She's like, I went to Starbucks. And they were like, well, there's no record on your card that you went to Starbucks. She's like, well, then I probably paid cash. I don't really remember. It was very traumatic. Like,
yeah.
And then she also, like, she made it there when the police were still there because she was, like, out and about. And she already knew he was dead before anybody had told her, which was a big thing.
Yeah.
So she's like, I was able to put it together through context clues because there was caution tape. Everyone else was out there, not Dan. And I kept trying to reach Dan. And then somebody hugged me. And I figured that it must mean that
to be honest,
dead.
that's not super far-fetched.
Yeah.
Like, any one of us would probably have assumed the same thing in that situation.
Right.
I would have. We've seen enough Dateline to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the jury deliberated for about a day and then returned a verdict of guilty, with many speculating that Nancy taking the stand actually hurt her case, which
probably,
was 100% circumstantial. And there's like interviews with jury members like afterwards, them saying that, her temperament didn't fit what they thought.
But that doesn't mean
that's not
exactly her husband. Like,
right.
I mean, look, it doesn't look great. You make a satirical blog post, very detailed about things you could do to kill your husband, and then your husband ends up murdered. It doesn't look good. No, but you can't convict people based on
what it looks like.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And I do think that had she not taken the stand in her own defense, she may have gotten off. Actually,
interesting. I mean, of course they're going to appeal it.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
It's going into appeals because
it's interesting.
But her they were just pointed out that like she was laughing sometimes during her testimony, and like that just rubbed people the wrong way.
I would be so convicted. You guys.
Because her thing was, she was like, I'm laughing because, like, sometimes Dan did funny things. And, like, you can't police the way that people grieve. Now, I scoured over so many different articles because this case is everywhere this week. Like, when you look up her name and everybody has the same title, like How to Murder Your Husband, author convicted for murdering her husband.
Yeah.
But I do kind of think that she did it.
Huh.
But what bothers me is that I cannot for the life of me think of why.
Why?
And that's why this case kind of stuck in my head as a Tainted Love case, is because like everybody was saying, like literally no one testified that they had any marital problems whatsoever.
Wow.
But I really legitimately do think that she killed him. And it does not make sense that it's a financial motive. So it just makes me think of how you don't really know what is going on inside of a person or inside of a relationship like that. And
do you wonder if it's because like she'd spent so much time like inundated in it? Do you think there's an element of like, just can I get away with it?
I think maybe there's a part of it after reading her books and thinking like what a rich imagination she must have, if nothing else. That maybe it was just a level of dissatisfaction, you know?
Yeah.
Because her books are full of this, you know, the usual like romance novel, like that passion, that like, fire and everything like that. And as we know, we all read that stuff because real life is
not like that.
It's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe
She's
that's
bored.
it.
Yeah.
But a quote from her website stands out to me. And I wrote, as I skim article to article to glean whatever kind of insight I can, hoping for a clear answer. In response to listing how great it is to be married to Dan, she writes, "Be careful what you wish for. When the gods are truly angry, they grant our wishes."
What does it mean?
A marriage that seems great to everyone on the outside can hide some really dark and insidious little hatreds day in and day out. And maybe someone who practiced writing about passion and murder decided that she would take matters into her own hands and that she would be able to get away with it.
Wow.
And that is The Tainted Love of Nancy Crampton Brophy.
That is...
That's a lot.
That's like, it's a real head scratcher because, I mean, because who else would have done it? But also they didn't look into anyone else.
That's right.
How did we know? You know?
Yeah. I mean, as a juror and I read like through all the different reporting of all the testimony and everything. It's 100% circumstantial. And I don't think that I would be able to say like, or convict somebody, you know, from what,
from that
presented.
Information,
yeah,
exactly. It's just not enough. The gun doesn't match, even though they can postulate.
Yeah, that's right.
The slide and stuff like that. If they were able to locate that, then it would match. It's like, but you didn't.
Yeah, but I also know a 70-something-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, my mom is in her 70s now. Like, I love her, but she could never pull that off.
Yeah, but. You know, does she sit and write romance novels?
Right, exactly. Like, this woman spends all her time absorbed in this and thinking about this, obviously, to write a blog post that's that detailed with every single scenario and circumstance.
You said it was a long time ago, though, that this blog post. When was the blog post written?
2011.
Oh, wow.
Which is why it wasn't admitted. The judge was like, that's too long ago. It's not relevant.
She spent her whole life. It would be like finding out that Anne Rule murdered somebody, where you're just like, yeah, you know, because it's just like,
oh man,
you know, even not to slander our lovely lady Anne Rule at all, but it's just like, yeah, if there's somebody you spent your whole life, your whole adult life thinking about and talking about this thing, you probably know it better than like your average 70-year-old woman would.
It's true.
But the thing, like I said, that gets under my skin the most about this case is just how nobody had any clue whatsoever. Like, to the outside, they were a very happy couple.
Yeah.
They had lots of friends. Nothing struck anybody as unusual.
Right.
So
yeah. Oof.
Yeah. There you go.
What a story. Thanks, Christina.
Wow. You're welcome.
Woo.
But yeah, the Wrong Never Felt So Right series is actually on Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, great.
So
I can
you know Cassie's going to be on that.
The Wrong Brother there's The Wrong Brother.
Feels convoluted, if I'm honest.
The Wrong Husband, The Wrong Hero, The Wrong Cop. So there's a lot.
There's a little something for everybody, I guess.
There's a little something for everybody.
Oh, man.
I think. But yeah, there you go.
Woo! Well, on that note, what are you? What else have you been doing besides reading?
Besides reading, this book is wild too. Yeah. By the way, like I said, the guy is a Navy SEAL ex-NASCAR driver.
No, that is,
and she's a nervous, timid.
Of course,
sex therapist.
Of course she is. Does she trip over herself all the time? Is she always like tripping, catfalling?
She doesn't know how beautiful she is.
Of course she doesn't.
Of course she doesn't.
Nope. Sex therapist too, mind you.
Wow. So yeah, it's a ride, but it took me a lot longer to read it than I thought. I thought there's no way she writes like actual romance novels, right? Motherfucker, it's a long. Novel. It's a novel. It's long. I'm like, is this over yet? Not enough sex in it either. I will say.
See, I'm out.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's trying to be like a thriller kind of thing.
Oh no,
sexy thriller. Wow.
Yeah. So, do I recommend? No, I do not. But if you're curious,
it's there.
It's there, and it's free if you've got Kindle Unlimited. So why not? So.
Well, after watching Bridget Jones' Diary last week, I then followed it up kind of accidentally, but not quite, with watching the Staircase TV show on HBO Max. So I got to see Colin Firth as very hot in Bridget Jones' Diary and very not in the Staircase. I'm not done with it yet. I think I have like 1.5 episodes left.
Did they do the Owl Theory episode yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's the next episode or the end of the one that I'm currently watching. The performances, incredible. Colin Firth is so good in it. Like he is, and of course Toni Collette is a treasure.
I've heard that the way that they present, like how she might have died, was actually really. Someone was writing about how great Toni Collette was.
Oh, she's incredible. She's one of the most underrated actresses of our time right now. I think that she's stunning. Like, just her performances are always perfect. And Colin Firth, I have never been less attracted to this man in my life.
Wow.
And that speaks to how
awful
good he is as Michael Peterson in this role, because that man, I find him to be so obnoxious. And Colin Firth really does capture that in such a real way. So
I'm going to write that down. I do want to check that out. I've been meaning, and then I forget about it, but I do want to check that out.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's beautifully shot. The performances are really good. The way it's done is very interesting because it's shot in like past, present day to the murder/trial and then into the future. So it's an interesting way that they shot it. Yeah, I don't know. It's not my favorite thing, but it is a very like well done show, and the performances are very good. So yeah, if you're interested in the Staircase,
we know how I feel.
I know
I am always like, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, anyway. But maybe is for real. Yeah, like that's the reason why that case is fascinating. Yeah, but
maybe I don't know. I finished my finals, and we've been watching the new season of Bosch Legacy. So that's where we're at. I'm not going to try to sell it to you guys. The end.
Reverse psychology now. You're like, you wouldn't like it.
It's fine.
And then I'll be like, I wouldn't like it.
Maybe I'd like it.
Maybe I would.
It's okay.
Well, if you have something that we should watch or read, or you got a story that you got to share with us, go to our one-stop shop of website. It's myworstatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.